Jen Mall, and welcome to Nurse Connect. I am an RN and a board-certified nurse coach. I believe that connecting with others is essential to living a happy and fulfilled life, and that sharing our stories not only helps us to heal ourselves, but also helps others by inspiring hope and optimism. I am so grateful to share stories of these incredible nurses on their journey, and I encourage you to find a way to share yours too. Thanks for listening in. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Jen Mall with Nurse Connect podcast, and I'm super excited to have Amber here. Welcome.
Thank you, Jen, so much for having me today. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. So, Amber, why don't you take us back? How did you become a nurse? What's kind of been your journey thus far in your career?
Yeah, so I have been a nurse since 2012, and actually, I never really pictured myself being a nurse. I had aspirations to be an elementary school teacher. I love working with children. And so, yeah, I was like gung-ho to go to school, and I thought that was going to be my career path. So I actually have some people in my family and some close friends who are in education. And so I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And for anyone who is from this area or is familiar with Pennsylvania, it is very competitive and difficult to find a teaching job right out of school. So some of the people in my family and also like friends actually like kind of talked me out of going into teaching.
Interesting.
Not that they were in doubt of my abilities to do it or anything. It was just I want to say looking out for me in a way, saying like almost like, you know, you're going to have to move out of state. Like you really should consider this. Like you're not going to get really paid very well right out of school. And, you know, I really look up to teachers. Teaching is an amazing thing. And it, you know, what we do in life is not always about money. You know, it's more about what you're passionate about. So actually, the same person who kind of talked me out of teaching, like was like, I really think you should consider nursing. And I like just sat with that. And I was like, well, I don't know if I really want to do that, but who really knows what they want to do right out of school, right? Like when we're so young. So, you know, I thought about it, and then like more people in my family started encouraging me to be a nurse. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna become a nurse. And nursing school was probably one of the hardest seasons of my life, but I'm just very thankful that I did choose this career path. And although I don't get up every day thinking that, or I haven't, you know, it's just really been a journey. And I feel like nursing is not just it's not a career, it's more of a calling, you know, right? What we go into.
Yeah. And there are so many similarities between educators and nurses. We're both very much caretaking, healing professions in different ways, but I can see that you make a good teacher, healer, nurse. You know, you've kind of already got that all kind of as a package. So I love that. And what types of specialties in nursing have you done so far?
Yeah, so I like to say I'm well-rounded. I've worked in a lot of different areas. So when I first graduated nursing school, I started on a trauma unit, and then I transferred. There was another hospital, a newer hospital opening, smaller community one in the area I live. So I worked there for about 8 months. But when I was in nursing school, I kind of fell in love with critical care and emergency medicine, and I knew I would end up in either of the two. So after my 8 months on a telemetry med-surg floor, I transferred to an inner city hospital and worked in their emergency room for about 5 years. And I'll always say emergency nursing is probably my first love of nursing. I haven't been back since I left there, but I do really have a lot of respect for those nurses. And just, I really love the, just the what's the word I'm looking for here? The adrenaline rush. Like I love that. And I love like doing triage, because your assessment skills just get so strong in the emergency room. Like it's almost like you're able to diagnose a patient, even though that's not in our scope. But you're like, I know what's going on with this patient, you know? So I really love that. And then I got a little burnout working there. So I transferred to the operating room at a bigger level 1 trauma center here in Pittsburgh. And was on the neurosurgery team there for about 3 years. And
Cool.
it's funny, I went there because I was like, I need a break from the emergency room. And I just feel like the OR will be such a nice break. But, it humbled me in a way, because OR nurses, it's a huge responsibility and they do a
Mm-hmm.
lot for the patient. I mean, if you think about it, you're taking care of a sleeping patient. They don't have a
Mm-hmm.
voice. So you are, keeping them safe. You're making sure that OR is, functioning properly and things are going, smoothly. So I really gained a new respect for what OR
Yeah,
nurses do. And it's a different way of critical thinking, but they still use those skills.
sure. Yeah. Oh, that's super interesting. Yeah, you are pretty well-rounded.
Yeah, there's more after that.
Yeah.
So
So where else? What else have you done?
yeah, so after the OR, I went and worked in clinical research for a little while at
Ah,
a cancer center here in Pittsburgh. I'll be honest, I didn't really like that job as much. It was more administrative work, and I like to be more hands-on with patients and
yeah.
more, connected to them. But it was a great team when I was there, when I was, on that team. And I learned a lot about what, that type of nursing is. And then transferred to an outpatient family medicine center after being in the clinical research end for a few months. And then COVID happened. So,
Mm,
yeah, I worked at an outpatient facility. I wasn't in the hospital during that time, but we still had our
mm-hmm,
challenges, um, as far as getting patients seen for their appointments and,
mm-hmm.
COVID testing. We had to run all that. So, yeah, it still was, a stressful time.
Yeah, for sure. In different ways, that stress and determining your job, and like at the time, it was incredibly stressful for almost everybody. But I think regardless of what area you're in and nursing, it's very impactful and very challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so, are you still in that outpatient setting now, or do you still work clinically?
Yeah, so I actually, after I left there after almost 2 years of working, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of took a break from nursing for a little while, and I worked
Mm,
for a chiropractor for almost a year.
mm-hmm.
And I'm sure we'll be moving on to this, but I am a board certified nurse coach. So
Mm-hmm.
I started my one-on-one practice back in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was really looking to start that up and really move that forward. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I took a little break from nursing, but currently I still work part-time as a nurse as I'm building my practice, and I work at an outpatient surgery center. We do eye surgeries.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just love it. I find that many of the nurses that I get on here have just had such varied careers. And I love that that is just it's amazing as a nurse that you can do this many different things as a nurse. I mean, you've
Yeah.
just listed off 5 or 6 different types of nursing in your career. I just think it's fascinating.
Yeah, I love nursing. I love nursing because it is so diverse. And if you don't
Mhm.
like one area, there's going to be something else that you thrive in
Absolutely.
or you love, right?
Yeah.
And then when you're like your time is kind of done in one area, there's something else for you to move on to. So that's why I
Hmm.
love it. Like, and you're like not only the job security, but just the diversity of what you can do.
Yes. Yes. And I know you have such a beautiful, strong faith. Has that played a role in kind of transitioning, like knowing, I mean, is it a knowing that you had that kind of was like, okay, it's time to move on? Did you feel a calling or a pull to those areas? Is that at all something that impacted you during your transitions?
Yeah. So, yeah, spirituality and faith is a big part of who I am. And I would say early on in my nursing career, I didn't really rely on my faith as much as I do now, but I can
Mhm.
see like just even going back like from when I was like a brand new nurse and all the jobs I've had and all the places I've been, like where God has really used me and just like the patients
Mhm.
that I've met, like it was either to like for me, I don't want to say like I was like I feel like we're connected with people, like God sends people into our lives
Mhm.
because we are meant do something for them, or they're meant to do something for us. And there's just been
Yeah.
situations where I feel God has really taught me,
Mm.
different things, just meeting and interacting with people and hearing their stories. And,
Hmm.
so, and also switching my mindset around, like, nursing is not just a job. This is a
Hmm.
calling. Like, and I soon realized too, like, and I did not just go into nursing because it's a good paying job and job security. But I think I've really just been awakened to the fact that if you do go into it for that, then you will quickly burn out, because
Yeah.
it's a servant's like position to be a nurse. You take care of
Right.
people, you take care of families. Like, there's different situations that come up that may not even have to do with your patient. It might be a
Hmm.
coworker, or just, somewhere where you have to just extend a little more than you may have wanted to. But also
Hmm.
remembering that you have to take care of yourself as well.
Yes. And that is so hard when you are feeling so called to a profession such as nursing and you feel it's literally your duty in life, that gift you've been given to serve others. It can feel really selfish when you're trying to take care of yourself. What are some things that have worked for you to kind of help fill up your own well so that you can give to others?
Yeah, so this has been a journey for me. I don't want
Hmm.
to like make it out like I am perfect at this every single day, because I am a recovering perfectionist. I like to share that
Same.
too. I shared that at work the other day, and it was hilarious because people were like, "Oh," like they were like just joking around, like, "Well, what does that
Yeah.
mean?" And I'm like, I've struggled with perfectionism, and I'm
Yeah.
working on that. So, I have become a very big self-care advocate. I just love, especially like when I am working with my clients one-on-one, like just allowing them that space to just, what have you done for yourself today? Right.
Hmm.
I think that is such a big part of just healing and growing, is just showing yourself love.
Hmm.
And whether you're a nurse, you're a mother, you're taking care of children, you work in a daycare, you're a teacher, any type of, in order for us to show up for our, kids, clients, patients, however you want to word it, we have to make
Hmm.
sure our needs are being met and that we're being taken care of. And
Yes.
sometimes that's really difficult to do.
It is. It is. And I think especially when you're caring for others that there's this level of guilt, like you're not supposed to be doing that. And so I think acknowledging that and it's like, no, I it's important to be taken care of. And if that's not being met in one way or another, it eventually manifests into sickness and burnout and distress, mental health challenges, right? All of that is connected.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I don't think I answered what I things I like to do for me. So I love to work out. I've kind of been off track with that, but I recognize that I need to get a little bit of a better plan that works for me in this season of
Mm-hmm.
my life right now. But even just going outside for 10 minutes and taking a walk has just been, any type of movement to my body, I feel like just really helps me to get reset and
Yeah.
regrounded.
Yeah.
I also love just times of silence and prayer, and also like meditating and breathing. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's been really beneficial, because I tend to have a mind that races. Like, I think of like things way ahead that, right in this moment. So it helps me to just kind of like get grounded in the moment and reset when I'm feeling maybe overwhelmed or stressed, or just needing that time to just, focus on the now. Don't worry about what happened
Yes.
yesterday. Don't worry about what's going to happen 5 days from now.
Yeah. I've definitely noticed. I'm a former ER nurse as well. I grew up in the ER. I like to say I started when I was 19 and it was about 30 something when I left. So, but I think in any nursing profession, specialty, but I think especially ER nursing, like you are literally trained to think of all of the terrible things that could happen and plan for them and prevent them from happening. And I think that is where a lot of this maybe we had a lot of perfectionism traits growing up, but they're glorified in that role when you are like so good at recognizing something that, before it happens and preventing it. And or somebody presents very critically ill and you know exactly what to do and you help them. And so, but sometimes it's really difficult to shut that off when you're not in the work setting. And so when you talk about all the million things going on in your head and the worrying and the future planning, like that has it has benefits and it has a really great purpose in the job, such as an ER nurse. But if you can't shut that off, it becomes debilitating. Anxiety, right? At least I struggled a lot with anxiety because I was so worried about all the things. But like you said, like spirituality, prayer, meditation, mindfulness, like getting centered and just being here in this moment can really help kind of ground you and help with some of those spinning thoughts and the anxious feelings. Does that help you at all?
Absolutely. I'm also a big mental health advocate. I think I believe healing begins in the mind and the heart and works its way outward.
I love that.
Not saying like fitness and nutrition, that all plays a component too. But I think, our mindset, our thoughts around things really play a significant role in how we heal ourselves. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned that you're a nurse coach, which is a specialty of nursing. So again, one more little avenue if you're a nurse considering the specialty. It's pretty awesome. So talk to me about how did you decide that was something you were interested in doing? What has been your journey as you've been building up your practice?
Yeah. So about 6 years ago, I went through a pretty traumatic relationship breakup.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point in time, I needed healing. That was number
Mm-hmm.
one. However, I was in such a unhealthy state myself. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
significantly overweight, not eating good. I almost like lost who I was. Like if I could just be
Mm-hmm.
honest.
Yeah.
And I just really I was like, you know what? I'm going to start doing my self-care. Like that's really when my self-care journey began and what I started doing. And not that I didn't do things for myself before that. I just was like, there's something that needs to change. And that's also when I feel like I, gave my life to Christ and found him and really got in tune with my spirituality because
Mm-hmm.
I always had a relationship with God, but I didn't really know. I'm sorry. I always believed in God, but I didn't really truly have a relationship with
Yeah.
him. And I didn't really know what that meant or what that looked like. So that was a huge part of that experience. And so that was around the time I would say that I was working in the OR at the time. And then I just, I started going to the gym. And then there was a season where I actually was a spin instructor and I just fell in
Oh,
love with fitness. And that was a big part
yeah.
of my healing too, because like it was just, I not only work out for physical health, but it's a big part of my mental health,
Absolutely.
that I do that. So when I was working in the family medicine center outpatient, I was just, talking to one of my friends at the time and colleagues, and we were just talking about like, holistic healing and things. And she's like, and I was actually thinking about going back to school to be a nurse practitioner. And that's something
Oh,
I'm still thinking about, but, right now is not, I don't feel it's the time to step into that, but eventually it may be. And she's like, I really think you should look into this program. I think you would be a great fit for it. And I was like, oh, what is it? So she sent me Heather and Peter's program, the Nurse Coach
uh-huh.
Collective. And I, did a little research on it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to book an enrollment call and see what this is about because this seems really cool. And I'm like
Mm-hmm.
really liking this. So I had my enrollment call with Christina Junge, who was also my course director.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Collective 15 is the collective I was a part of. And, we had talked and I immediately knew that this was something I wanted to do. So I enrolled.
That is awesome. Yeah. And
Yeah.
the fact that somebody brought that to you, when we touched on you connect with people that, are either here to give you something or you're there to give them something. What a beautiful gift your colleague gave you. And just planting that seed, sharing that you would be a good fit for this and that you followed that to see where it would lead and listen to your intuition about joining and working through the program. So I just love that.
Yeah. And so, I did I would say my like true healing journey began there, was
Mhm.
when, I enrolled in the collective and just starting to do that inner work and learning about mindfulness and how you can help people,
Mhm.
um, with coaching. And so I graduated, let's think, I think it was 2021. It was January of 2021, or maybe it was 2022. And I took a little break for a while, and I just was like really sitting with like, what am I going to do with my coaching certification? Like,
Mhm.
this is something that I worked hard for and that I want to
Mhm.
bring to the world. And I always had a dream of owning my own business, and I never knew like what kind of business or what that would look like. But so I just kind of, I don't want to say I was like completely ready. Like, I just took that step
Of
of faith,
course.
right? And I was just like, you know what, I got to do this, because if I don't ever do it, the time's just going to keep going by.
Yeah.
So I hired my first one-on-one coach, which Amy Frame, I'm going to give her a
Oh,
shout out,
cool. Love
because
her.
she was my first coach, and I worked with her for a year on just some personal development and also some
Mhm.
additional healing that I needed,
Yeah.
from my my past trauma and just some other things that were coming up as starting my business. Because like, there's a lot that comes up, and
Yes.
healing is forever a journey. Like, it's not something you ever come to an end with. Like,
No.
you're no sooner over to something and then there's something else that
Yeah,
going.
that the whole onion analogy, right? Like you peel back one layer, you're like, awesome, check. And then it's like, whoa, what's going on there?
Yeah. So I when I hired her, she helped me to, get my practice started up, and I was able to get some of my first paying clients with that. So yeah, my coaching practice is called Celebrate Revival Coaching, and I love to work with people on their mindset, their transformation, and also emotional healing.
Yeah.
So yeah, because that's emotional healing is and forgiveness, I would say, is such a big part
Mm.
of my journey and just things I had to work through. So I'm very passionate
Mhm.
about helping people, work through those things and,
Yeah.
get some clarity and just get to where they want to be.
Hmm. Yeah. How did you come up with the name?
Yeah. So, Celebrate Revival. So I had another name picked, and I had prayed about it and I feel like it didn't feel right to name it what I was going to name it. And, Celebrate Recovery is a program it's a 12-step recovery program in the church. And,
Mm.
it's not only for people struggling with addiction, but it also helps people with emotional healing and other,
Mm.
things, maybe with their mental health, like depression,
Hmm.
anxiety. It's a wonderful program. And, so I just always, that name was very catching to me. And, you know, I love the word celebrate, because celebrate, we talk about that in coaching. Like, a lot of times when my clients come to their second or third call with me, what are your wins this week? What are your celebrations? What are we celebrating? Revival is a word that just really sticks with me, because revival is like the start of something new. And I think it's the start of
Hmm.
something stronger. So
Mm.
that's kind of like where I put the two together, celebrate revival, because we're celebrating, ultimately your revival over, your healing, or whatever it is for you, whatever your story is, why you came to coaching in the beginning, like why, you're doing this, for yourself,
Mhm. Yeah, I
so
love that. I got chills when you were describing the revival and the starting something new. Because I think sometimes the start of something new is super scary because it's unknown. But when you kind of flip your mindset about it a little bit, when you think of, well, how exciting is this? You are starting something new. this is the beginning of your beautiful journey and transformation. And what a blessing it is to be in this space. Yeah.
Yeah, so I felt, I had shared the name with a couple friends before, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, that's really awesome." So,
Yeah.
yeah, it just kind of, yeah, I just started putting names together, and that just really
Cool.
spoke to me because I love the word revival. It just is so strong. I feel like.
Yeah. Very positive. Just what I think about it, I just think it's like, oh, that looks sounds awesome. Yeah. So what's next for you?
Yeah, so right now I am just working on, building my practice, connecting with people, offering them coaching. Um, you know, I also have a big heart to work with like first responders,
Mm,
as far as like police officers.
hmm
They're like I would say they're like the biggest on my heart
mm,
because I have like a close family member who is a police officer, and just the because they're also a servant's position, and
hmm
just the things they go through. And I'm not just saying police. I mean, this is military, this is firefighters, this is nurses. I mean, these are people,
hmm
paramedics. Like, I don't want to leave anyone out. Just what they go through and see, and I think um, coaching would just be so awesome for them because it's just a place where they can just be safe and just really express themselves when they may not have an opportunity to do that
Yeah.
otherwise. Because just having conversations with different even like some people who have family members in these professions, and they're like, you know what, like, there's no sooner an incident and then this is what is done for them, and then nothing is done after that. And
Yeah.
I just feel a calling to just put a stop to that and like
Mm,
make it different for them, right? And
beautiful.
help them through their trauma, through their experiences, through their feelings. Because,
Mhm.
and I can speak from this from experience, like when you don't process your emotions in a healthy manner or just through a process, think it becomes much more difficult to do it later on. And it causes a
Yeah.
lot more things in our bodies and, in our minds, and things that could have been worked through and prevented.
hmm Yeah. And I think you don't realize it at the time that these little things actually add up to causing big challenges. Because especially in nursing, you see a lot of stuff and first responders in general and in life. But I think especially in really heavy caretaking professions, like these little things you just think aren't a big deal, the patient yelling at you, a patient hitting you, biting you, being shot at if you're, in a law enforcement or military, like, oh, but I'm fine. I survived. Like I didn't get hurt. And so we tend to brush off these things as like, oh, it's not a big deal. Um, but then it's time after time after time that stuff starts to really add up, and yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah. So, just looking to connect with, also like in the workplace too, like not just specifically with um, that population, but even in the workplace, like corporate environments, like
Mm-hmm.
what is being done for the health and wellness of the employees there? Like,
Yeah.
um, I'm trying to, just really just allow people to experience what coaching can really offer them.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love
And one of
that.
my ultimate, like, this is long term, but I would love to own like a wellness studio one day
Yes.
that is where spirituality is a big part of that. And
Yeah.
a lot of like prayer and just like worship and Bible studies, like all that is tied in there. And
Yeah.
there's different, like I just envision it as different apart, like there'll be counseling, there'll be coaching, there'll be fitness, there'll be meditation, like just all these components, right, being tied into one, and
Yeah.
just like holistic healing is what I like to
Oh,
envision
I
it as.
love that. Yes, because holistic healing is the body, mind, and the spirit or the soul,
Mm-hmm.
but it's taking all components of us and addressing for wellness, not compartmentalizing it. And so it's just that's the beauty, I think, of this holistic approach with nursing and coaching. I think it's really going to make a big difference for people.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, Amber. I just love getting to know you and your story a little bit more and hearing about your journey. And I just want to give you an opportunity before we wrap up. Is there anything else on your heart that's sitting there that you'd like to share?
Hmm. I just would like, I guess I would just would like to say, if you are struggling right now with your mental health, whether that is anxiety, depression, you are just feeling stuck in a situation where you just feel there's no hope, there is hope.
Mhm. Thank you. Sending you love and anybody who's
Thank
listening
you.
that connects with that right now, because especially as we're coming into the holiday season, this is a tough time for a lot of people. And just seek help, ask, even just a reach out message can you just you never know where that will lead you. And yeah, feeling that.
Yeah. Like the truth is we are never alone because God is
Mhm.
always with us. But sometimes when we're in our struggles or we're in like a season that's difficult, we do feel alone. But I
Mhm.
guarantee there is somebody out there that you are meant to connect with and that can help you. Whether that's a counselor, a coach, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's just some random person you connect with on social media.
That's right. That's right. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Amber. It's been lovely chatting with you today.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been an honor. Thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. All right, bye everybody.